This is a review of the Famicom Disk Stick from 3DScapture.com, and this is essentially a mini ROM cart for the Famicom disk system. So I wanted to explain exactly what this is and how you would use it, and I guess I would start by explaining what the Famicom disk system is in short. So if you already know, don't worry, this is just a short intro. So this is the Nintendo Famicom. This was the Japanese version of the American Nintendo. And after a while, they decided to move from cartridges to floppy disks. And there were a few reasons for it. One, that you could actually save your game right on the floppy disk. And another was that you could rewrite them and they were cheaper to make. So they came out with the Famicom disk system. So you would put your Famicom on top of it, and then you would take the Famicom disk system RAM adapter and put that in the cartridge slot. Getting complicated, huh? Almost like a Sega CD and a Genesis. And then you plug the RAM adapter directly into the back. Now, I believe that the disk drive is nothing but a disk drive and an interface board, but where there's no actual processing done. Whereas the RAM disk itself takes the place of the cartridge and the chips that would be on there. So what the Famicom disk stick, the FDSStick, does is it just removes the disk drive part, because these things tend to go bad pretty easily and they're big and cumbersome. So for this to work, you would just simply unplug the RAM disk and take out the floppy drive itself. So now you're left with just the Famicom and the RAM disk, and then the cable that would plug into the floppy drive goes directly into the FDSStick. So I wanted to show how exactly it works and then how you set it up and some of the extra features. So I'll start with how it works because I'm sure that's what everybody's going to want to see first. So I wanted to use the AVS by RetroUSB.com to demonstrate it because its 720p HDMI output just kind of made this whole thing easier. So as you can see, I have the RAM disk plugged in with nothing else hooked up to it. And I'm just going to hit start on the AVS and load. Now you could just leave the FDSStick plugged in all the time if you'd like. I just kind of wanted to do it this way to demonstrate in the video. But whenever you're ready to load, just insert this directly into the RAM disk adapter, and then what you'll see comes up looks like a typical ROM cart menu. So you're able to use the up and down arrows to scroll through individually, or left and right to scroll by the page, and then just hit the B button when you want to load it. Now there's two things to pay attention to here. The first is that this really is only emulating the disk itself, not any of the other parts of it, because the RAM disk is what has all the chips in it. So for things like Famicom expansion audio, as you're probably hearing right now for the Zelda title, it should be 100% as accurate as if you were using the original disk. So when you use things like the EverDrive has to use mappers to emulate that, and it's often not accurate at all. Another good reason I'm using the AVS is because the AVS reads the audio directly from what's in there. It doesn't change the audio at all. So this should be exactly as if I was using the actual disk drive itself. The other thing to note is that many Famicom disks were two-sided. So some, like Mario 2, or Lost Levels as we knew it in the US, only required one side. So you just plug it in, goes to the title screen, and you start immediately, and you're actually able to write a second game on the other side. Games like Zelda are two-sided, so in order to access side B, you would have to press the button on the AVS twice. So 1, 2. And then what this does is emulate the ejecting of the disk and then putting it back in. So I'll also demonstrate the save feature because it's pretty straightforward and easy. The Famicom disk itself, or the disk stick itself, will load exactly like a floppy disk, including all the delays, unfortunately, because it seems to be true emulation of the disk itself. So once you die, in any game, you would treat it like a normal save point. So for me, I'm just going to go to save, and then I'm not sure if you'll be able to see on camera, but there is a green light that is on the actual FDSStick, indicating that it's being read or written to. So as it would be saving on a floppy drive, it's saving to the FDSStick, and then as soon as it's done, the light goes off, and we're back at the main screen, and as you can see, it says now 5 instead of 4, noting that I've now died 5 times trying to make this video. So now I actually want to show some of the extra features that you could do with this when you plug it directly into your computer, as well as how you load ROMs. So now I wanted to show how to load ROMs onto the FDSStick, as well as a couple other really awesome features that it supports. So I'm just going to insert it right into my PC and load the FDSStick software that's available right from the 3ds Capture website. You'll see that there's a ton of ROMs already on here, but it comes with nothing. Those are just the ones that I put on. So I'll show the functionality, and I'll start by removing Zelda because it's easy and last in the list. When you hit remove, it's gone from the list here, but you have to hit apply before anything actually happens. Any change that you make, you have to apply for the FDSStick to be written to and from. So as you see, now Zelda's gone. If you want to add anything, in fact, you could even add as many games as you'd like just by highlighting all, but you just go into the add menu. These are all on here, so I'm just going to put Zelda back. And same thing, hit apply. Now when you hit apply, you saw how the red bar went across. When you're adding multiple games, you could highlight them all and dump them all on, but it writes them one at a time. So just to be clear, you don't add them one at a time. You highlight all and hit OK, but once you hit apply, then you'll see the games go one at a time actually being written to the FDSStick, which takes a few minutes, but it's really awesome that you don't have to do it individually. Also, this says 256 meg. That fits almost the entire FDS library. So I, of course, have the Smoke Monster ROM set on here, which includes a lot of the translations, a lot of the extra stuff, and they all can't fit. I actually had to delete 4, so not too bad, just 4 ROMs in order for everything to fit on here. But luckily, I actually just deleted the ones that had English translations, because I don't speak Japanese, so I wouldn't use those anyway. So writing in ROMs is pretty straightforward and easy. You could also save ROMs from the FDSStick just by hitting the save button, and then you could select where you want to put them. I'm not sure if the save games come with it, and that's something I really don't have the ability to test quite yet, but if anybody knows anything about it, definitely add it in the comments. The other awesome features you could have is with a custom cable. You could actually connect the FDSStick directly to one of the floppy drives, and you're able to read and write to disks. So reading discs is pretty easy. If you just want to rip your own ROM of it, you could just take whatever your game is. So like I got the original Zelda here. Awesome artwork on these. And if you wanted your own copy, which I think they would even take the save game, you would just insert this in and be able to read the disc onto your computer. The write disc thing is pretty cool as well, because certain games, like I have Doki Doki Panic here, but if you got the disc from a shop in Japan, they actually have very often just handwritten labels on them. Because if you remember, part of the whole purpose of this is that so you could buy one Famicom disc for, $30 or whatever it was then, and when you're done with it, you could rewrite it and use it for another game that would only cost about $10 to put on. So by using the write disc, you're actually able to write your own Famicom ROMs to these floppy disks, which is pretty cool, especially if you have your heart set on playing it with the old disk drive, but you have a rare English translation or something. So, it's not something I would use a lot, but really glad that it's there as an option. And then finally, the PC emulation tab, you're allowed to actually connect the Famicom disk drive itself to a PC to play with emulators. So you could actually use the original Famicom discs on an emulator on your PC. So overall, I think the thing's absolutely amazing. For the price, you can't beat it. I bought one for myself, and I bought a second for a friend just because I knew he'd love it. And it doesn't replace ROM carts totally, so I'm still obviously using my EverDrive for a ton of stuff. But anytime I wanted to use the FDS or any kind of Famicom discs that use the expansion audio, I would definitely use the FDSStick. That way it keeps the original experience. The only difference would be that I'm playing it off of a USB drive instead of a floppy disk. So I hope you liked the video. Please leave comments as always. And I hope you liked the new format for some of the reviews, because I'm not used to using OBS yet, but I love it so far. So any comments or thoughts, let me know. And I hope this was a good review of something that I really think is awesome, and hope everybody that owns a Famicom disk system would pick up.